Okay, so I've been at car dealerships all day since like 9:30 this morning. I finally found a car, got a new mom car. I'm nosy. I want to know, what do you pay for your car, especially if you drive an SUV? Because I thought 340 was a lot. That's what I was paying. Now I'm paying a little bit more. But all the dealership guys are telling me 340 is a low payment. 340 is a low payment. So what are you paying for your SUVs?
I don't know what to say, but like the average car payment right now is like $750 a month. And then when you put in insurance, a few $100s, gas prices, a few $100s per month, oil changes every once in a while, maintenance fees and all that, you're paying well over $1,000 a month on transportation. And now you have 100-month car loans. This guy is saying, I make a six-figure salary. And I question whether I should trade my base model WRX for something more humble every single day. Says I see people in lower positions than me who make less but are literally financing $80,000 plus vehicles. Yeah, that BMW N4 sounds great, but let's be real, it's more than your rent. I know people who have like very expensive Camaros. That was a couple years ago, but that dude, if you combine everything, like the insurance, the car payments, the gas prices, like it's more than his rent. It was like $1,700 a month, and the dude's rent was only $1,500 a month. People, especially young Americans, are spending more money on cars than their rent.
I'm not normally a jealous person, but when I see the videos on TikTok of the girlies, it's like the POV, you chose the 1990 to 2000, whatever, fill in the blank, little crappy car instead of the car payment. I want to get out of my car payment so badly. I don't know how. I pay $700 a month. I had to get the leather and the bucket seats. Like, I did this for what? It's not worth it. Let this be your sign. Take the car without the car payment. The joy I would feel listening to my CDs. By the way, I have CDs. This car, for whatever reason, has a CD player. So, like, I have my CDs. But, like, the joy I would feel listening to my CDs in, like, a 1990 Land Cruiser. Or, like, a 1970 Ford F-250. That's, like, my dream truck. Or, like, a little Ford Ranger Beater, 2002. This, it's not it.
We hadn't had a car payment in years, and now we have a car payment because my son turned 16, so my husband gave him his old car, and he got a new to us car. I forgot how crappy it is to have a car payment, honestly. Our car payment is $421 a month for 6 years, and we put money down. I am hoping to pay it off earlier than that, though. We've always been able to pay it off before 6 years, so fingers crossed. And I know we could have got a cheaper vehicle and possibly not had to take out a loan, but like I said in a previous video, I didn't want to put money, even if it was like $10,000 to $15,000, into a car that was gonna, probably die in 3 years or need a lot of maintenance. I didn't want to put money into a junky car or an older car. I wanted something that was reliable and would hopefully last us a long time and not need many repairs for several years. So that's why we decided to get a little bit higher priced vehicle and take out a loan for it. I think our interest rate is like 5.67. I know, 6-7 as my kids would say. I am curious, do you pay for your cars in cash or do you have a car payment? And if you'd like to share how much it is, I would love to know, because my car payment seems pretty high.
I'm not gonna lie, if you don't have money for real, don't get a car. People be buying cars without realizing the maintenance that comes with it. Like, it's one thing to buy a car, but it's another thing to keep up with it. You got the insurance, the gas. Like, let me show y'all. See how my car is on E right now? Yeah, so I need to get gas, and all I have in my bank is $6. Don't get me wrong, I have money in my savings, but that doesn't mean I want to use that money to buy gas. So now I'm going to use the $6 in my check-ins to buy gas, because at this point, I'm going to just have to wait till I get paid again to buy the gas. That $6 is going to have to serve me for the next 2 days, a day, I don't know. But yeah, don't buy a car if you're not going to be able to keep up with that shit, because you're going to be broke bad, like.
So whenever I get on this app and talk about having a car payment, people jump down my throat and they're like, stay broke, queen. That's why you'll always be poor. Have fun always being middle class. Have you seen the state of the economy? Middle class is rich. I've said it once, I'll say it again. There is nothing wrong with having a car payment if you can comfortably afford it. Listen, I hate to state the obvious, but the $525 I pay a month for my car is not the difference between me being broke and me being rich. And if it is for you, you gotta evaluate everything. You gotta evaluate everything. I feel like people spend too much time evaluating being rich by the amount of money you have, but I have a place that's mine to sleep in. I got a man that's mine to sleep with. I have food on the table, a real stable job, people around me that love me. That is rich. That is rich. So I may not like the bills that I have every month, but I like all the things that I've worked so hard for, and it works for me. So I'm saying this with my whole chest. People that try to make you feel bad for spending your money how you want to are just weird, like strange.
I'm just gonna be honest. When y'all start talking about y'all paying $600, $700 car notes, I be quiet. I be quiet. Zip. I don't say nothing. And I be quiet because the economy is not even set up for the average person to pay $600 or $7 for a car note, to be honest. And that's why I be quiet, because I just be like, wow. Just wow.
How is it that the average car payment in the US is $700 a month? Like, I'm not trying to be mean here, but if you are taking on a $700 a month car payment, I'm sorry, but you are not all the way there in the head, and I think you need to listen to this video. I know that everybody needs to have a car, but it does not mean that you need to have a 2026 or 2027 brand new vehicle. You can drive a normal car like I have, pay it off, or take on a car payment, but it's only $200 a month. You do not have to have the brand new car, the nice fancy Mercedes, or a big lifted truck. You just need a car to get you from A to B to make money. I don't really understand why people think they need to take on all this debt, because the reality is that $700 could go to investing instead. Or if you still have to have a car payment, at least you can invest the difference, right? So let's say you get a car payment for $200 a month instead of $700 a month. You make a sacrifice and then you invest the difference, those $500 that you were gonna strap yourself down to a car payment with. Well, you better your life and invest it instead. Reality is, people who are financially smart, they get this and they will never put themselves in a bad position when it comes to borrowing or leveraging debt in the wrong way.
So I have a $25,000 car loan that I'm trying to pay off in 2025. I got my car a year and a half ago. It's a beautiful car. It's a Honda Civic, so it's a very reliable vehicle. Although I don't completely regret my decision to finance a car, I do want to de-influence you if you are somebody who's in the process or who is looking into financing a vehicle. I have an 8.99% interest rate on my car, which is very high. And if you're someone who has an average or below average credit score, the chances are you're gonna get an equally high interest rate. Over the course of my 7-year loan, I'm probably gonna pay an extra $12,000 on top of the principal of my car. Interest is really how they get you. So if you don't have an amazing credit score and you can't get an amazing interest rate, I would highly suggest you don't. Second of all, owning a vehicle costs so much more money than meets the eye. You have to worry about your insurance, you have to worry about your maintenance, you have to worry about your tires. For some reason, you have to change your tires like all the time. It generally just takes up a really high portion of your monthly income. On top of your car payments, it can get very heavy. And the last thing I'll say when it comes to car payments, when I think about my car payments and how much I spend on a monthly basis and how I could be investing that money, it makes me realize how much more of a mistake it was for me personally to finance my car. I'm not saying that financing is a bad decision, but I just really want you to have all the facts and to really assess your situation before you go ahead and do it. If you have experience financing, let me know if you agree or disagree. And here is to making better financial decisions in 2025.
Guys, my car just got repoed. The repo truck was backing into me and I thought it was just some random truck about to hit me. No, he was picking up my car. I owe about $900 in car payments and he told me to just call them and pick it up whenever I have the money. And I have no money, guys. All I grabbed out of the car was my son's car seat and some pre-workout. I only have $7 in my bank account, so I couldn't find a place to do cash back so that I could get a couple of dollars to take the bus. So now I gotta walk 3 hours home to tell my girlfriend that my car got repoed and that we're not gonna be able to pay the rent this month that we're already late on. I don't know why I'm smiling right now because it's not really a funny incident, but I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna think about how I put myself in this situation and then think about what my next move is during this long walk. Don't stop showing up for yourself just because things aren't working out at the moment. Doesn't really matter what happens to me. I just want everybody else to be safe.
There's one way you can tell if somebody can or can't afford the car that they're driving. Now, it's generally the maintenance and the upkeep of the vehicle. Normally it's tyres. If you've got a high-end performance vehicle and you've got the Ling Long tyres on it or the Uni Royal tyres on it, you're clearly skimping somewhere, which is actually quite dangerous on a high-performance car. But the other way is if it's a brand new car and there's had a scrape down one side of the door and they've chosen not to get it fixed. Normally it's because of money. You don't want the insurance to go up, so you don't want to claim, but also you don't want to pay a couple of grand to have the door reskinned. I think people get into these high-end vehicles and they don't actually account for the costs that go along with it. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments.
One thing you might not know about me is I've actually had the same car since I was 18 years old. I turned 24 on Saturday. Like, it's super normal to upgrade your car once you have a full-time job or once you're done with school or uni or whatever. I just wanted to tell you that, like, the same car for like 5 years. 6 years! She's literally my best friend, the love of my life. I tell you, she's not flash. She doesn't have a reverse camera or Bluetooth. She's perfect. My friends and family have been trying to get me to sell her for about 3 years. And every time someone brings it up, I cry. I just thought, you know, if you've got car FOMO, your friends are upgrading their cars or whatever. I've been working full-time for a while now and I didn't upgrade my car. Still got my 2011 car.
So here are 2 ways that you can tell if somebody cannot afford the car that they're driving. And yeah, what I'm about to say is probably going to trigger some people. And if this is you, don't take it to heart. It's just a video. But here is one way, or 2 ways I should say, that you can tell. The first one is budget tyres. If you're driving around in a performance car, an AMG, an M BMW, and you're knocking around with Devante tyres on it, you need to have a word with yourself. And even worse is when you get different brands of tyres on each corner, or budget. Now, I know the reason why people do this is because they can't afford or they don't want to expend, you know, the cost of a full set of Pilot Sport 4Ss, for example. Yes, I know they are £300 odd per corner, but tyres are your one contact with the road. Like, why would you skimp out on them? If you can't afford to put the tyres on it and sustain the vehicle in the way that it should have been from factory, you shouldn't be buying it. And also, the second thing is when people splash a tenner in at the pump. At least fill it to half, bro. Or brim it. Like, I brim the tank every time I go. There's no point throwing a tenner in because you're just going to end up back at the pump again in the afternoon anyway. So you're just wasting your time. And then you'll just get range anxiety because you'll be, oh, where's the nearest petrol station? Because you'll have about 10 miles in your tank because you only filled it up to 30 miles last time you put fuel in. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments and let me know if you've seen anything like this recently.
And I don't know. I just feel like a $500 plus car note is absurd. But also walking, not having a car and not having transportation is even more absurd. So, like, what do we do in this economy? Because you need a car, there's no way around it. Everybody can't go to a car place or dealership and just drop down cash. And I'm not even sure that's something that you should or would need to do. How much are y'all paying for these car notes? Like, how much are y'all spending on car notes plus car insurance? Because it's honestly getting even more ridiculous, but I low-key can't even be mad at people for paying that much money because what do? You need a vehicle. People who don't have a car will tell you just how annoying and how hard it is not having transportation, not having a vehicle that you can just count on to have 24/7, or even having a reliable vehicle. Having a vehicle that's not reliable, that's always breaking down and causing you problems is just as worse as not having a vehicle. So what do you do if you need reliable transportation?
You want to know what happens if you don't pay your car payment or your car note through Ally? It's been a year and I'm still sitting here staring at my car. And this is a little vulnerable and this might be too much information, but I owe $4,000 on this car. They offered me $2,200 to pay it off. I said, y'all come and get this car right now. I call them every Monday, coming up on a year, telling them to pick this car up. A Hyundai Elantra. I hate it. I don't want it. The tags are off. It's clean. The key is in the damn seat. I ain't seen a record company yet. But God forbid, if this was in my 20s and I needed that car, I think it's more hassle for them to come and get the car than it is for me to keep it. So what I'm thinking they're going to do is they're going to put it on my credit report, which that's a scam anyways. I don't give a fuck about no credit. If I can't buy it with cash, baby, I don't need it. And they're going to put it on my credit, and they're going to send me the title. That's the only thing I could think of, because they're for sure not coming if I could get it. But I don't know what to do. You know? I don't. It don't start. The battery might be dead. The engine, I think, is blown. But it's still sitting there. That damn car. Ain't paid a car note in a year. Oh, and you guys are probably going to fucking ring my ass about, oh, how are you going to do this and how are you going to do that? Don't worry about me, okay? That's all I got to say.
Just another day complaining about adulthood and all the stuff that comes along with it. Owning a car. Why is that shit so goddamn expensive, and they just take your money from you, and they word it in a way that it's like you have to do it or your car's gonna fucking break down in the middle of the fucking road. 2-year service comes up. I get the annual service once a year, get the big service done, fully know that. Called up, booked it in, because it always sends me a notification on my phone. It's like $1,000, I'm pretty sure, to get like your service done. It's under warranty, so like that's just like how you do it. Okay, why do I get a big text message? Hi Samantha, here's a link for all the stuff we think you need to be done on your car. Car was driving pretty fine when I dropped it into the service station that morning. Why do I need 3 tires replaced? My aircon thing, they're like, oh, mold might grow in the aircon vents. I think we need to change the filters. Doesn't smell like mold to me. Air was blowing pretty fine. Smelled pretty fresh, actually. Your top left suspension pad is a little bit worn out. We recommend replacing it. $4,000. Your windscreen wipers, as they might, before the next check, they might end up a little streaky. We recommend replacing them. We think you need 3 tire replacements. Your fuel cap is looking a little bit dirty. We just recommend replacing that. $800. I will clean my fuel cap for free, actually. Your batteries on your keys, they haven't been replaced in 2 years. $200. Car opens and closes with the key. Don't need that, please. So on top of your $1,300 for your car service is $4,000. Bruh, that's more than my rent. It's more than my fucking rent. For a car that hasn't even been driven in 8 months. I've been in London. That car hasn't been wearing and tearing while I've been away because it hasn't been driven. What could possibly be wrong with this car? Because it was driving pretty fine when I dropped it into the thing for its annual checkup. Why does it need all $4,000 worth more? Like, did they just look at me being like, yep, she's a young 23-year-old, we can get her to do all this stuff? Because then they worded in a way being like, if you say no, the car might not make it to the next service. Okay. So do I say no and risk the biscuit of the car breaking down in the middle of the goddamn road? Or do I say yes? I said no to majority of the shit because I'm like, this is bullshit. My windscreen wipers are working perfectly fine. You don't need to spend $400 on new windscreen cleaning pads. Oh, and then we're just going to keep it over the night because the battery needs chargers. $800. Well, I don't want it overnight. I want my car back. Like, I don't know anything about cars as well, so I just have to say yes, and then it's like, all right. That is so many Tommy's margaritas just out the window for a car. If I was in London, the tube wouldn't do that to me. Fucking rinsed. Don't buy a car. Do not buy a car. It's so silly and you don't need to do it.
Late December, my husband and I bought a car. I loved it. I was so excited about it. It was a 3-row Jeep Wagoneer. And eventually we were driving it home and it died. The electrical just died while we were driving it. That's weird. My husband had to restart it while we were driving it on the freeway. We pick up our kids. We drive home from picking up our kids. It dies 2 more times with our kids in the car. We get home. We call the dealership. They're like, oh, that's weird. Let's have you drive it to the auto shop and we'll take care of it. Great. Drive it to the auto shop. They take care of it. And we go pick it back up, bring it home. They're like, okay, we found that there was a nut missing off one of the batteries. Should be good to go. Great. Car dies again while I'm driving it. And so we're like, great, that's crazy. Why is that happening? This is not safe. Hopefully you can figure this shit out. I really want to keep my car, right? So they take the car again. They check all the battery stuff. They're like, oh, everything's good. We replaced the alt battery or something. Send me home with a car again. It dies again. This time it dies all the way. Like, it dies while we're driving it, but then the next morning we go to start it to take it in and it won't start. So we have to have it towed. We have it towed. They replace the alt battery, the regular battery. They say, oh, they'd just been sitting on a lot for a year, so that's why they weren't working very well. It should be good to go. I get my car back again. I don't know what time this is the 3rd time, maybe 2nd time. Drive my car. It works for a couple days and then it dies again on the freeway when I'm driving my sister back. I'm driving back from the airport to drop off my sister, and it completely, like, the electrical goes out. There's no power steering. There's no anything, and you have to, like, figure out how to finagle it back into start it while it is still driving. Okay, so we have them tow it again, and then they're like, oh, we were able to recreate the problem. We fixed everything. Your car should be good to go. I pick it up again. I believe this is the 5th time. And then I'm driving it in with my kids home from picking them up from my in-laws, and it completely dies while I'm driving it. Not completely, like the engine is still running, but all the electrical dies. And so we bring it home. We call them when they open the next day, and they're like, okay, we'll bring it in, or you can have it towed. And we go out to start it in the morning, and it is completely dead again. So we are in the process of lemoning my Jeep Wagoneer, even though I love it. Everything else about it, but it does not work. It is not safe. And apparently this is a problem that is happening with a lot of Jeep Wagoneers. Do I want to continue to work with Jeep and get another one? I don't think so. I don't know. If Jeep hit me up and was like, hey, let's try and work this out, maybe, but brings us to today. I am currently at a Toyota dealership to try out a Toyota Sequoia. And this week, I'm going to test drive 4 other 3-row SUVs, so follow along if that's something you're interested in.